check out our streaming schedule for this week. We've got tons of content in terms of the NFL and college football, as we're going live just about every single day this week. So make sure you hit that notification bell so you don't miss a single moment where we go live. And now, on with our feature presentation. November 14th, 2024. It's week 11 of the NFL season, and we have what might just be, no joke, the biggest game on paper in Thursday Night Football history on our hands, as we've got an NFC East rivalry game between the Washington Commanders and the Philadelphia Eagles. The stakes for this game could not be higher. The winner takes first place in the division. For the Commanders, it's a chance to avoid their second straight loss. For the Eagles, it's a chance to win yet another game, with the team having not lost since September before their bye week. So you would think that this matchup would be great, right? It would be a well-played game, and more importantly, an extremely well-coached game, where neither team would make any critical mistakes in pressure situations, right? Well, not quite. But before we get to whatever the heck happened at the end of the first half in the game between these two teams behind me right here, if you like learning more about the history of the NFL and some other dumb things that coaches have done in the past, then this is the place for you, because we talk about all things NFL history all the time with a new video every single day on this channel. So if you like that sort of stuff, then be sure to hit that like button down below, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss a single video that we post on the channel. Thanks in advance for your support as we try and hit 70,000 subscribers. And so far in this game, the Eagles find themselves down 7-0, unable to get any points on the scoreboard thanks to 2 missed field goals by Jake Elliott and some struggles to get the running game going. However, the Eagles have a good chance to score here when they're faced with 2nd and goal at the 4-yard line with 33 seconds left. You have 2 timeouts, and you've got plenty of time to do something here. If you can score and not give the ball back to the Commanders, you're in a really good spot. 2nd down, and Saquon Barkley gets 1 yard on the play. This brings up 3rd and 3. The clock is running at...
Prevent him from getting into the end zone.
You're kidding me. You're actually kidding me. You called timeout? You called timeout? Why the heck did you call timeout? Why the actual heck did you call timeout and give Washington a chance to get the ball back? You didn't need to do that. Now, Washington gets it back with, you know what, screw it. Welcome to Dumb Decisions. Before we break down what happened here, this whole series is about taking an in-depth look at decisions made during games that were clearly awful from the start. This isn't something look bad in hindsight. Rather, this is something look awful almost immediately. These are moves where your gut instinct tells you right away that there is no way this can possibly work. And sure enough, your gut instinct was smarter than that of an NFL head coach. And for this one, we're going to take a look at the mind of Philadelphia Eagles head coach Nick Sirianni. I don't even know what this man anymore. I genuinely don't. I'm convinced that the Eagles are the most talented team in NFL history. More talented than the 1978 Steelers. More talented than any of those Patriots dynasty teams. More talented than the Lombardi-era Packers, where half the guys were Hall of Famers. The Eagles have to be insanely talented if they're winning these games and playing lights out, in spite of their head coach just being absolutely stupid with every possible in-game situation. Anytime you need this man right here, Nick Sirianni, to make a decision regarding going for it or kicking the field goal or managing the clock properly, he manages to make the wrong decision like clockwork. We saw it in the game against the Jaguars a few weeks ago, which you can learn more about by clicking the card in the upper right corner. We saw it back in week 2 against the Atlanta Falcons, which you can learn more about by clicking the card in the upper right corner. We saw when the Eagles played the Saints, and Sirianni got just about everything wrong during that game, which you can learn more about by clicking the card in the upper right corner. It genuinely is impressive how often the Eagles win in spite of Sirianni's incompetence. And man, was that on display here. So with that being said, let's take a look at why calling a timeout with 28 seconds left when you're in a goal-to-go situation and it's 3rd down is a really bad idea. There is a finite end to the drive at hand. There are no more first downs to make. The only boundary that is left is the end zone. That means that there are a maximum of 2 plays left on this drive. There's the 3rd down play. If you don't score on 3rd down, there is the 4th down play. Let me ask you this. Excluding pitchy woo-woo plays at the end of the game, where the teams are just trying to lateral the ball 10,000 times in the hopes that something works out, when is the last time, honest to God, The last time that you saw a play from the line of scrimmage take 27 seconds off the clock. When is the last time you saw a play with 28 seconds left in the half and ever thought to yourself, man, I hope they have enough time to run another play because this might not be enough time? You haven't. Simply put, you haven't. It doesn't exist. You do not need 27 seconds, since 20 would be the end of the half, to run one play from inside the 5-yard line. Why you're leaving that much time on the clock makes no sense at all. And maybe this could be defended if the Eagles didn't have any timeouts left after this. If the Eagles had no timeouts, you might do some risk mitigation by calling the timeout this early, since they can't spike the ball on 4th down. If you call the timeout with 15 seconds left and you had no timeouts left, and Jalen Hurts gets sacked or something along those lines, then you don't have enough time to run a fire drill for the field goal team, the half is over, and you walk away with no points. I wouldn't agree to call the timeout with 28 seconds left, but at least there is some sort of logic here that I can follow. But the Eagles still had a timeout in their back pocket. The Eagles, if something happened in the field of play, could have stopped the clock. They could have freaking stopped the clock without any issue whatsoever. So the logic makes no sense to call timeout that quickly and to call it right away. What does calling a timeout with 28 seconds do when you're not even 5 yards away from the end zone and when there's only 2 more plays possible on the drive? Well, all it does is play right into Washington's hands. The name of the game is to score more points than your opponent, and you score points off of possessions and off of having the football. With Washington getting the ball to start the second half, why on earth would you willingly give them another possession? At the very least, make them call timeout so they don't have the ability to use the middle of the field if and when they get the ball back. At the very least, make the Commanders do the dirty work for you. Don't play right into their hands, because by calling the timeout with 28 seconds left, you're going to be giving the Commanders the ball back with time left for them to get into field goal range. Washington will get it back with roughly 20 seconds left, depending on what happens on 3rd or 4th down. And if they start off with a 30 off the touchback with 2 timeouts, they have time to run 3 or 4 plays while using the entire field to get 25 or so yards to get into a possible field goal situation and negate everything you just did on your previous drive, or get 10 or so yards to get into a Hail Mary situation, which we know very well that Washington can make work. It just genuinely amazes me that Sirianni thought that this timeout was a good idea. There was no benefit, none whatsoever, to calling timeout there. If you let the clock run down and call it with 12 seconds left or somewhere around that ballpark, you have time to run a play and get another timeout in if for some reason it makes the clock run. You won't run out of time, and you're guaranteed to bring up 4th down with time to work with if you can't score on 3rd down. If you give the ball back to Washington, they won't have time to do anything. They'll be too far for a Hail Mary, and they'll just take a one-play knee or call a run up the middle to go into the half and not chance anything. If you don't call timeout with 28 seconds left, but Washington decides to, that's one less play that they have to work with when they get the ball back, and that's less of the field that they can use, since the middle of the field keeps the clock running. You did, quite possibly, the one thing that you could not do in that spot. You did the only thing that would have made this dumb and would have made this nonsensical. So, good job, Coach Sirianni. You really know how to manage the clock. And sure enough, what do you know? The Commanders get the ball back with time to drive down the field, and they do just that, as Jaden Daniels hits his wire at Philadelphia's 40-yard line to set up a long field goal try for Zane Gonzalez to close out the half. None of this would have been possible if not for your stupidity and your atrocious clock management that started once you got into the goal-to-go situation in the first place. But that was amplified after that second down play. And now, you're going to cost your team 3 points. And oh crap, that pass was incomplete. That pass definitely hit the ground. Brown definitely did not have control of that football. Not at all. Well, you know what? That's good news for the Eagles at least. But you still have to defend the Hail Mary. It's still a really stupid timeout, but at least it's a Hail Mary situation. And with that, we flip over to this man right here. Commanders head coach Dan Quinn. There's 5 seconds left, so the Commanders have some options here on 3rd down with a timeout. Since again, you didn't force them to burn any of their timeouts in that goal-to-go spot. You can try a quick pass to the middle of the field and immediately get down and burn the timeout. We saw the Jaguars do that against the Dolphins in London in 2021 in what was, quite possibly, the only good piece of coaching Urban Meyer did as a Jaguar. You can try an out route to get a few yards and set up a field goal. You can try the Hail Mary right there. Being at midfield is more than fine with the arm strength of Jaden Daniels to try it. So, Dan Quinn, here's your chance. The Eagles gave you a lifeline. They gave you an extra possession completely out of nowhere. You have a chance to take advantage of it. What do you have in your playbook for this moment?
Not yet. And they're just going to run the ball here and then the half and a Robinson 4-yard pickup.
Oh God, I'm going to be up late. Welcome to Dumb Decisions. Again. Kill me now. Yada, yada, yada. You know the drill. Dan Quinn, why the heck are you running it here? Better yet, why does it feel like every single coach is screwing up these end-of-the-half situations on Thursday Night Football this year? We saw it last week with the Ravens-Bengals game, which you can learn more about by clicking the card in the upper right corner. We saw it with the Broncos-Saints game, where Dennis Allen called a timeout so that he could take a knee, because that made sense, and you can learn more about that by clicking the card in the upper right corner. And now, we have this. Quinn and his staff coached an absolutely horrible game. In the biggest game of the season, he completely faltered. There was the 4th and 2 decision, which I would not have done. But I'm not going to do a Dumb Decisions episode on it because I at least get it, considering the fact that you have a backup kicker, and scoring a touchdown on the drive gives you a great chance to touch the ball last if your defense can't get a stop. There was the abysmal lack of urgency on the 4-minute drill at the end of the game, where the Commanders forgot they had timeouts and forgot that they needed to throw the ball. I've never seen a team in a 4-minute drill call as many runs up the middle as the Commanders did. And then there was this, which was the cherry on top to an awful ending to the first half. Running the ball on 3rd down in your own territory and bypassing the chance at a Hail Mary, I don't know, man. I just don't know anymore. So that being said, let's take a look why calling a run in this spot is a really bad idea. And to do this, and to really highlight this, I want to go back to something that Quinn said in his post-game presser, because someone asked him about that final possession at the end of the half, and how he wanted to have a chance and have enough time, within reason, to do something. Seeing as there was one point while the Eagles were driving, that Quinn did in fact call a timeout to stop the clock and try and get it back, since time wasn't exactly an issue for the Eagles by that point. Quinn understood the assignment at one point, and then completely failed it and forgot it. And this is what Quinn had to say about it. Take a listen.
At the end of the half, you were really aggressive in calling a timeout when they had the ball. And then the last play, you didn't.
Yeah, there comes a time when that it's not worth going again. So I usually try to think, can we create a 2-minute for us at the end of the half? That's one of the things we do well. But there is a time spot to say, once I get below that one, then I don't. But I do try to, if we can take a shot to go, we'll do it. But it's not going to be at 10 seconds or something along those lines. So if we can keep it in the parameters, that would be, from our game management spot, we're really prepared in that space. But if it goes below, I don't want to be reckless into that spot.
So let me get this straight. Your strategy was to call timeout and have a chance to score. Then, you are presented with that chance to score, whether it's 3 points on a quick pass over the middle, or to the sidelines and then try the field goal, or whether it's a touchdown on a Hail Mary attempt, which your quarterback has the arm strength for and has successfully pulled off before, as everyone is aware of by this point. And you don't do it? Doesn't that seem, kind of contradictory? I'm not saying you have a great chance at scoring, but it isn't an insane chance at scoring. Your quarterback can reach the end zone. You have the middle of the field to work with. A run up the middle just doesn't seem to make a ton of sense. It wastes so much time to go up the middle on a run versus going up the middle on a passing play. Waving the white flag when there's really no risk whatsoever to try anything doesn't seem to make a ton of sense. Basically, nothing about this strategy made any sense, especially considering what Quinn was trying to do with his attempts to get the ball back to get in that spot and with what he had to say after the game. It would be like refusing to bunt all game to advance the runner to second because you want your guys to swing for the fences. And then, when your most powerful hitter comes up that has the most home runs in the league, you have him try and bunt his way on and sacrifice himself. That doesn't seem to add up whatsoever. Nothing about what Dan Quinn did here adds up at all. The game between these two teams behind me right here was an extremely poor one from an in-game management perspective on the side of the coaching. More so from the Commanders than the Eagles, but still for both teams, it was not the best. Now, even despite the loss for the Commanders, they should still be alright, Their next 2 games before their bye week are against the Dallas Cowboys and the Tennessee Titans, 2 of the worst teams in football. So if they win those games, if they're favored in both those games, they should get to 9 wins and be okay to make the postseason. But they will need to have a much better outing all the way around, on the run defense side, on the passing side with Jane Daniels, and especially on the coaching side from Dan Quinn, who maybe coached his worst game since the second half of Super Bowl 51 when he was the head coach of the Atlanta Falcons. This game was that bad. So what do we learn from all of this and from the ends in the first half? If time isn't an issue, don't make it one. If you don't have to give the team another possession, then don't do it. Simply put, don't do it. If you have 2 options, and one option allows you to get 2 plays off while not giving the ball back to the other team, while the other option allows you to get 2 plays off while giving the ball back to the other team with a legitimate chance for them to score, then take the first option. There's no reason not to. Don't give away free possessions for no reason when you literally do not have to do that. And if you're trying to get the ball back and you have a good chance to score and there's no risk involved in trying to score, then for the love of God, try to score. Try to freaking score. If you have a quarterback who can reach the end zone, or if you have enough time to try a quick pass and call timeout, then to just wave the white flag when it makes no logical sense to do so, especially when your logic beforehand contradicted that, just makes you look clueless. And if you're coaching on Thursday Night Football, please, I beg of you, stop with the end of the first half shenanigans. This is so many vids I have to do as a result of your stupidity. Just take some sort of smartness pill inside of 2 minutes and save me and let me go to bed and get some sleep for once in my life. Because when all these elements are in play, you can't exactly be surprised when this play backfires. Talk about a dumb decision. Be sure to like and subscribe if you have not done so already, as it helps the channel out a lot. And check out my other channels, JG8 for the history of college football, JG7 for the history of baseball, and JG9 News, where we talk about all things happening in the NFL. Join me every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern, where we'll play live NFL trivia for cash prizes. And make sure to join me live, as we're on stream just about every single day. And thanks to all our Patreon members and our YouTube members for helping out the channel. See how you become a member and show your support financially in the description down below.